The abandoned research station DR. Thesa Corvin pressed her scaled hand against the cold metal wall of research station Omega-7, feeling the vibrations that meant the atmospheric processors were failing. The Kaleri scientist's large amber eyes reflected the emergency lighting that had been flashing for the past 6 hours. Her elongated fingers moved across the control panel with practiced precision, but the readings remained unchanged. Life support was failing. There was nothing more she could do. The research station hung in the void between star systems, testament to Kaleri's scientific ambition that had become their tomb. 15 of the galaxy's brightest minds were trapped. Here, abandoned by their own government, after their dark matter research had produced unexpected and dangerous results. The Kaleri Corporate Council had deemed them expendable rather than risk exposure of their failed experiments. Thesa moved through the station's corridors, her tall, thin frame casting long shadows in the dim light. The Kalari were a graceful species evolved from aquatic ancestors, with smooth blue-gray skin and gill slits along their necks that had long since adapted to process oxygen from air rather than water. Their homeworld of Kalaris Prime was known throughout the galaxy for its advanced technology and rigid corporate structure. But that same structure had condemned them to die in the darkness of space. In the main laboratory, her colleague, Dr. Varric Solon, worked frantically at a computer terminal, his webbed fingers flying over the holographic interface. "At Thesa," he called out without looking up, "I've managed to boost the signal strength of our distress beacon by 12%. If anyone is within 3 light-years, they might detect it." "The nearest Kalari patrol route is 8 light-years away," Thesa replied, settling into a chair beside him. "And even if they detected our signal, the Council has classified this station as a total loss. They won't come for us." Varric's gills fluttered slightly, a sign of distress among their people. "Then we broadcast on all frequencies. A trading vessel or explorer ship will hear us." Perhaps Thesa agreed, though they both knew the odds were astronomical. This region of space was deliberately chosen for its isolation, far from shipping lanes and colonized systems. It was the perfect place for dangerous research, and the perfect place to die unnoticed. The station shuddered slightly as another system failed. Through the viewport, Thesa could see the stars unchanged and uncaring. Somewhere among those distant lights were billions of beings living their lives, unaware that 15 Kalari scientists were slowly suffocating in a forgotten research station. Meanwhile, 3 light-years away, Captain Marcus Chen stood on the bridge of the human cargo vessel Pathfinder, reviewing shipping manifests on his tablet. The Pathfinder was an older ship built for reliability rather than speed, with a crew of 18 humans who had become like family over the years. Marcus was a man in his 40s with graying hair and weathered hands that spoke of a lifetime spent among the stars. He'd been running cargo between human colonies for 15 years, and he prided himself on always delivering on time. Captain called Lieutenant Sarah Walsh from the communications station. Sarah was the ship's engineer and communications officer, a young woman with bright red hair and an insatiable curiosity about alien technology. "I'm picking up a faint distress signal. It's unusual." Marcus looked up from his tablet. "Unusual how?" "The frequency pattern suggests Kaleri origin, but it's coming from the void sector. According to our charts, there shouldn't be anything out there except empty space and radiation." The captain moved to her station, studying the readings on her screen. The signal was barely detectable, fading in and out like a dying heartbeat. "Could be a ship that's broken down," he mused. "Sir," interjected Navigator Tom Bradley, a seasoned spacer with a practical mind, "the void sector is restricted. The Kalari space officially off-limits to human vessels. If we investigate, we could face serious consequences." Marcus nodded thoughtfully. The young human species had only been part of the galactic community for 30 years, and they were still considered newcomers by the older civilizations. Humans had to be careful not to step on the wrong toes, especially those belonging to the powerful Kaleri Corporate Council. "How long would it take to reach the signal source?" Marcus asked. Sarah consulted her instruments. "About 4 hours. At maximum burn? But Captain, our cargo delivery to New Geneva is scheduled for tomorrow. If we're late, the penalty fees will be substantial." Tom finished. And that's assuming the company doesn't terminate our contract entirely. Marcus stared at the communications display, watching the weak signal pulse like a distant star. In his years of space travel, he had learned that the void between stars was vast and unforgiving. Ships broke down, systems failed, and people died alone in the darkness. It was one of the harsh realities of interstellar travel. But it was also true that humans had a reputation among the galactic community. They were known for their unpredictability, their willingness to take risks that more cautious species avoided. Some called it recklessness, others called it courage. Marcus preferred to think of it as simply doing what was right. Sarah, can you boost our receiver? Want to know more about that signal? Sarah's fingers danced over her console, adjusting frequencies and amplifying the weak transmission. After several minutes, she looked up with a grim expression. Captain, I'm reading multiple life signs, but they're getting weaker. Atmospheric readings suggest life support failure. If there are people out there, they don't have long. How long? Marcus asked quietly. Based on the degradation pattern of the signal, maybe 8 hours, probably less. The bridge fell silent except for the hum of the ship's systems. Marcus looked around at his crew, seeing the same conflict in their faces that he felt in his heart. They were cargo haulers, not rescue workers. They had responsibilities, contracts, and their own lives to consider. But they were also human. Tom, plot a course for the signal source, Marcus said finally. Maximum burn. Sir, Tom protested. The regulations clearly state that human vessels are prohibited from entering Kalari space without authorization. If we're caught, then we'll deal with the consequences. Marcus replied firmly. Sarah, try to establish communication. Let them know help is coming. As the Pathfinder changed course and accelerated toward the distress signal, Marcus felt the familiar weight of command. Every decision carried consequences, and this one could end their careers or worse. But he had not become a starship captain to play it safe. Somewhere in the darkness ahead, people were dying. That was all that mattered. Back on Research Station Omega-7, the situation continued to deteriorate. The atmospheric processors had failed completely, and the scientists were now surviving on bottled oxygen reserves that would last perhaps 6 more hours. The temperature was dropping steadily as the heating systems shut down one by one. Dr. Thessa Corvin gathered her colleagues in the main laboratory, which had become their makeshift refuge. The 15 Kalari scientists huddled together, sharing body heat and conserving oxygen. Their research data cores hummed quietly nearby, containing discoveries that could revolutionize understanding of dark matter and space-time manipulation. Discoveries that their own government wanted buried along with them. Has anyone considered that our abandonment might not be accidental? Asked Dr. Liana Sek, the station's xenobiologist. She was younger than most of the team, with the bright silver markings around her eyes that indicated her clan lineage. Our research was producing results that certain parties found, inconvenient. Thessa nodded grimly. The possibility has occurred to me. Our dark matter experiments revealed energy. Signatures that suggest artificial manipulation on a massive scale. Someone or something has been modifying space-time throughout this galaxy for millions of years. Ancient technology, whispered Dr. Varick. More advanced than anything the Council races have achieved. If this knowledge became public, it would upset the entire galactic power structure, Thessa finished. The Council species maintain their authority partly because they claim to be the most technologically advanced. Evidence of a superior predecessor civilization would undermine their legitimacy. The implications were staggering. For millennia, the galaxy had been dominated by a handful of species who had achieved interstellar travel first and used that advantage to control trade, resources, and technological development. The discovery of ancient technology far surpassing current capabilities would prove that advancement was possible beyond what the Council allowed. A soft chime from the communications console interrupted their discussion. Dr. Varick's gills fluttered with excitement as he checked the readings. Someone is responding to our distress signal, he announced. The transmission is Human in origin. Humans. Dr. Liana looked surprised. They shouldn't be in this sector. No. Their ships aren't even authorized for deep space operations beyond their colonies. Thesa moved to the communications panel and activated the receiver. Through the static came a voice speaking accented galactic standard, the common language used for interspecies communication. Research Station. This is Captain Marcus Chen of the human vessel Pathfinder. We've received your distress signal and are en route to your position. Estimated arrival in 3 hours and 47 minutes. Please respond if able. Scientists exchanged looks of amazement. Humans were barely considered a junior species in the galactic community. Having achieved faster-than-light travel only 30 years ago, their ships were limited to short-range cargo runs and colonization efforts. For a human vessel to be this far from their space, a restricted sector no less, was unprecedented. Dr. Varric activated the transmitter. Human vessel Pathfinder. This is Dr. Varric Solon of Kaleri Research Station Omega-7. We have 15 souls aboard, and life support is critical. Atmospheric failure in approximately 6 hours. We are grateful for your response. The reply came back immediately. Understood, Doctor. We're pushing our engines to maximum. Hang tight. As the communication ended, Thesa felt something she hadn't experienced in hours. Hope. The humans had a reputation for being unpredictable, for taking risks that more established species considered foolish. But they also had a reputation for helping others, even at great cost to themselves. Why would they risk this? Dr. Liana wondered aloud. They must know they're violating council regulations by entering our space. The penalties could be severe. Thesa looked out at the stars, where somewhere a human ship was racing through the void to reach them. Perhaps, she said softly, that is simply what humans do. The hours that followed passed with agonizing slowness. The Kaleri scientists rationed their remaining oxygen carefully, speaking only when necessary to conserve air. The station's temperature continued to drop, and they huddled together for warmth, their breath visible in the increasingly cold air. Dr. Thesa used the time to encrypt their research data onto portable storage devices. Whatever happened, this information needed to survive. The evidence of ancient technology could change the course of galactic civilization if it ever reached the right hands. Through the viewports, space remained empty and silent. The nearest star was a dim point of light, offering no warmth across the vast distances. It was easy to feel insignificant in the face of such immensity. It's easy to believe that their lives meant nothing in the cosmic scale. But somewhere in that darkness, a human ship was coming for them, carrying people who had chosen to risk everything for strangers they had never met. It was a testament to something fundamental about the human spirit, something that the older galactic civilizations had perhaps forgotten in their pursuit of order and control. As the oxygen levels continued to drop and the cold bit deeper, Dr. Thesa Corvin held on to that thought. Help was coming, carried by a species that the galaxy still considered primitive and reckless. Soon, they would learn just how wrong that assessment truly was. The impossible rescue Captain Marcus Chen watched the Kaleri research station grow larger on the main view screen as the Pathfinder approached. The structure was massive, a complex array of interconnected modules and laboratory sections that spoke of serious scientific work. But even from a distance, he could see the telltale signs of system failure, dark sections where lights should be burning, venting gases from damaged atmospheric processors, and the slow tumble that indicated attitude control had been lost. "What's our sensor reading on life signs?" Marcus asked as they drew closer. Engineer Sarah Walsh consulted her instruments, her red hair catching the light from her console displays. 15 life forms, all concentrated in the central laboratory. Module. Atmospheric readings are critical, Captain. I'm detecting carbon dioxide buildup and oxygen depletion. They have maybe 2 hours left. Time to docking? 17 minutes at current approach speed, replied Navigator Tom Bradley. But Captain, we have a problem. Their docking port uses Kaleri standard configuration. Our airlocks aren't compatible. Marcus felt his jaw tighten. They'd come so far, risked so much, only to be stopped by something as mundane as incompatible hardware. Options. You could try to jury-rig an adapter, Sarah suggested, But it would take hours we don't have. Or, she hesitated. Or what? Emergency. EVA transfer. We bring them across in spacesuits, assuming they have any that fit our physiology. Coleri are taller and thinner than humans, Tom pointed out. Their suits might not seal properly on us, and ours definitely won't fit them. The bridge fell silent as they contemplated the seemingly impossible task ahead. Then Sarah's eyes lit up with an idea. Captain, what if we don't try to make their suits fit us? What if we create a pressurized tunnel between the ships? Marcus looked at her with interest. Explain. We have emergency inflatable habitat modules in Cargo Bay 3. They're designed for temporary shelter on hostile worlds. If we could position one between our ships... Sarah was already pulling up schematics on her screen. We docked with one. And they dock with the other, and we create a temporary transfer corridor. That's completely outside normal procedure, Tom objected. Those modules aren't designed for ship-to-ship connections. Since when do humans stick to normal procedure? Marcus replied with a slight smile. Sarah, how long would the setup take? 30 minutes, maybe 40 if we run into complications. Tom bring us to within 50 meters of their station and hold position. Sarah get Chief Martinez and a team suited up for EVA work. As the crew prepared for the unprecedented rescue operation, Dr. Elena Vasquez emerged from the Pathfinder's small medical bay. Elena was the ship's doctor and xenobiologist, a woman in her 30s with dark hair and intelligent brown eyes. Her specialty in alien physiology made her essential for treating the Coleri survivors. Captain, she said, approaching his command. Chair, I've been reviewing what we know about Coleri biology. Their respiratory requirements are similar to ours, but they process oxygen more efficiently. The real problem will be temperature regulation. They're adapted to a warmer, more humid environment than we maintain on human ships. Can you treat them? I'll need to adjust our medical bay's atmospheric controls, but yes, the bigger concern is what happens after we rescue them. Coleri space is restricted to human vessels. We're caught with these scientists aboard. ... Marcus nodded grimly. He was well aware of the political implications. The Cagliari Corporate Council maintained strict control over their territory and didn't appreciate interference from younger species. Being caught with Coleri citizens aboard could result in charges ranging from smuggling to espionage. On the research station, Dr. Thesa Corvin and her colleagues watched through the viewports as the human cargo vessel maneuvered into position. The ship was smaller than their station, but built with a rugged practicality that spoke of long years among the stars. Unlike the sleek, elegant designs favored by Coleri engineers, human vessels looked like they were built to be repaired with whatever materials were at hand. They're positioning themselves very close, observed Dr. Varek Solon, his gills fluttering with nervous energy. What are they planning? Their question was answered when they saw figures in spacesuits emerge from the human ship, towing what appeared to be a large inflatable structure. The EVA team worked with surprising speed and coordination, connecting cables and positioning the module between the two vessels. Ingenious, murmured Dr. Leanna Sek, watching the humans work. They're creating a temporary airlock. I've never seen anything like it in Council technical manuals. Station Commander Jorik Thane, who had been silent during most of their ordeal, finally spoke up. That's because Council engineers would never approve such an improvised solution. Too many variables, too much risk of failure. His tone carried a note of admiration, but sometimes the improvised solution is the only solution. The human EVA team completed their work with minutes to spare. The inflatable habitat module now stretched between the two vessels like a temporary bridge across the void. Captain Ch's voice came through their communications system clear and confident. Research station, this is Pathfinder. We've established a transfer corridor. Can your people make it to your airlock? Commander Thane activated the transmitter. Pathfinder. We can reach the airlock, but several of our people are in weakened condition from oxygen deprivation. We may need assistance. Understood. We're sending our medical officer across to help. Dr. Vasquez is experienced with alien physiology. Within minutes, Dr. Elena Vasquez appeared at the station's airlock, having made her way through the temporary corridor. She was a small woman by human standards, but still taller than the average Coleri. Her medical scanner swept over the assembled scientists as she entered their refuge. "Oxygen saturation is low across the board," she announced, "but everyone appears stable enough for transfer. We'll take the most critical cases first." The evacuation proceeded with remarkable efficiency. Dr. Vasquez moved among the colliery scientists, providing supplemental oxygen and basic medical support. While they made their way through the transfer tunnel to the Pathfinder, the human crew had prepared their cargo bay as a temporary medical facility with additional life support equipment and heated environmental suits for their alien guests. Dr. Thessa Corvin was among the last to cross, carrying the encrypted data cores containing their research. As she entered the human ship, she was struck by the functional utilitarian design. Everything was built for reliability rather than aesthetics, with exposed conduits and readily accessible maintenance panels. It was the ship of a practical people who understood that space was hostile and unforgiving. Captain Chen met her personally as she entered the medical bay. "Dr. Corvin, welcome aboard the Pathfinder. My crew is preparing quarters for your people. Dr. Vasquez will want to examine everyone, but initial readings look good." "Captain Chen," Thesa replied, her voice carrying the formal tones of Kalari speech, "my people and I are in your debt. You have risked much to save us. I'm just doing what anyone would do." Marcus replied simply, though they both knew that wasn't true. The established galactic powers would have followed protocol, filed reports, and waited for official authorization. By the time rescue arrived, if it arrived at all, the Kalari scientists would have been long dead. Their conversation was interrupted by Sarah Walsh's urgent voice over the intercom. "Captain, to the bridge immediately. We've got company." Excused himself and hurried to the bridge, where he found his crew studying the tactical display with grim expressions. 3 ships had just dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system's leak. Predatory vessels bearing the markings of Kalari corporate security. "They're broadcasting on official channels," Sarah reported, demanding that we stand down and prepare to be boarded. "How did they find us so quickly?" Tom wondered aloud. The answer came from Dr. Thesa, who had followed the captain to the bridge despite her weakened condition. "The research station has tracking beacons," she explained. "When life support failed, automated distress protocols would have activated, including location transmitters. The corporate council knew exactly where we were, and they let you die anyway," Marcus said quietly. "Until you arrived and complicated their plans," Thesa confirmed. "Now they must act to contain the situation." The lead Kalari vessel opened a communication channel, and a cold, authoritative voice filled the bridge. "Human vessel, this is Security Commander Velith of the Kalari Corporate Enforcement Division. You're in violation of restricted space protocols and harboring stolen corporate assets. Stand down immediately and prepare for boarding." Marcus activated the response channel. "Commander Velith, this is Captain Chen of the merchant vessel Pathfinder. We responded to a legitimate distress signal and rescued 15 civilians whose lives were in immediate danger. We claim right of humanitarian assistance under galactic maritime law." "Humanitarian law does not supersede corporate security protocols," Velith replied coldly. "The individuals you removed from that station are in possession of classified materials. You will surrender them immediately." Dr. Thesa moved closer to Marcus. "Captain, those data cores contain evidence that certain parties within the corporate council have been suppressing technological advancement to maintain their power. They cannot allow this information to reach the public. They're powering weapons," Sarah announced from her station.
"All 3 ships are targeting us."
Marcus looked around his bridge at faces that showed determination rather than fear. His crew had signed on for cargo runs, not military action, but they understood what was at stake. Somewhere in the medical bay were 15 scientists whose only crime was discovering an inconvenient truth. "Sarah, can we outrun them?" "Not in open space," she replied. "But there's an asteroid field 12 minutes away at full burn, if we can reach it." "Their ships are faster," Tom pointed out. "They'll catch us before we get there." Dr. Thesis spoke up unexpectedly. "Captain, our research involves spatial phenomena manipulation. The data cores contain gravitational field equations that could help you reach that asteroid field." "Talking about experimental technology," Elena Vasquez said, having arrived on the bridge. "Untested theories. All theories are untested until someone tests them, Thesa replied. Captain, if you're willing to trust Kalari science. Marcus didn't hesitate. What do you need? Working with Sarah at the engineering station? Dr. Thessa accessed the Pathfinder's navigation computer and began inputting complex equations from her data cores. The calculations were unlike anything in human database, as advanced mathematics that described the manipulation of space-time itself. This will create a localized gravitational gradient, Thesa explained as she worked. Essentially will be falling toward the asteroid field faster than physics normally allows? How much faster? Marcus asked. Fast enough, Thesa replied grimly. But the stress on your ship's hull will be enormous. I cannot guarantee structural integrity. The Kalari security ships were closing rapidly, their weapons charging for what would likely be a disabling shot followed by forced boarding. Marcus looked at his crew and saw the same determination he felt. They had come too far to surrender now. Do it, he ordered. The effect was immediate and terrifying. The Pathfinder suddenly accelerated beyond anything its engines should have been, capable of the artificial gravitational field pulling them toward the asteroid field like a stone falling into a well. The ship groaned and shuddered under stresses it was never designed to handle. But the human engineering held together through sheer stubborn reliability. Behind them, the Kalari security ships scrambled to match their impossible acceleration. But their pursuit vectors had been calculated for normal physics. The Pathfinder disappeared into the asteroid field with minutes to spare, weaving between massive chunks of rock and metal while their pursuers struggled to follow. How long can we maintain this? Marcus asked, as the ship bucked and shook around. The gravitational manipulation will dissipate naturally in approximately 20 minutes, Thesa replied. But Captain, these asteroids contain unusual mineral compositions. Our research suggests they may provide natural shielding against sensor scans. Sarah looked up from her instruments with growing excitement. She's right, Captain. The asteroids are rich in heavy metals and exotic particles. If we power down to minimal systems and drift with the asteroid field, we become invisible, Marcus finished. Tom, find us a nice big rock to hide behind. As the Pathfinder settled into the shadow of a kilometer-wide asteroid, its systems powered down to barely detectable levels. Marcus reflected on how much his simple cargo run had changed. They were now fugitives harboring alien scientists with evidence of a galactic conspiracy hiding in an asteroid field while corporate security forces hunted them. It was, he realized, exactly the kind of situation that humans seem to excel at, improvising solutions that shouldn't work, taking risks that more cautious species avoided, and standing up for what was right regardless of the consequences. In the medical bay, Dr. Alina Vasquez finished her examinations of the Kalari survivors. They were all recovering well from their ordeal, their naturally efficient physiology responding quickly to proper atmosphere and nutrition. But as she watched them carefully guarding their data cores, she understood that their rescue was only the beginning. The information they carried could change the balance of power throughout the galaxy, challenging the authority of civilizations that had ruled for millennia. And now humanity was involved, whether they wanted to be or not. Outside, the asteroid field drifted silently through space, hiding secrets that would soon shake the foundations of galactic civilization. The Galactic Revolution 3 weeks after the rescue at Research Station Omega-7, the human cargo vessel, Pathfinder docked at Haven Station, a neutral trading post on the edge of civilized space. Captain Marcus Chen had chosen this location carefully. Haven Station operated under independent charter. Beyond the direct control of any single government or corporation, it was the perfect place for a clandestine meeting that would change the course of galactic history. Ambassador Liu Wei stepped aboard the Pathfinder with the cautious dignity of a seasoned diplomat. The Chinese-born representative of the Human Colonial Alliance was a woman in her 50s. With silver-streaked hair and eyes that had seen enough political maneuvering to recognize a crisis when she saw one, she had traveled here in secret, using personal leave time rather than official channels. After receiving Captain Chen's encrypted message, "Captain Chen," she said, offering a formal handshake, "your transmission was rather ... dramatic. Claims of galactic conspiracy are not. usually part of shipping reports. "Ma'am, if the last 3 weeks have taught me anything, it's that the galaxy is full of surprises," Marcus replied, leading her toward the medical bay where the Kaleri scientists had been recovering. "Dr. Corvin can explain better than I can."
Doctor?
Thesa Corvin had spent the week since her rescue organizing the research data and preparing her presentation. The Kaleri scientist had recovered her natural dignity, her blue-gray scales now gleaming with health, but her amber eyes held the weight of terrible knowledge. She stood as the ambassador entered, offering the formal bow of greeting used between diplomatic equals. Asterisk. "Ambassador Lu Wei," Thesa said in carefully practiced human speech patterns, "I thank you for coming. What I must share with you will sound impossible, but every word is verified by decades of research." The presentation that followed shook Lu Wei's understanding of galactic civilization. Using holographic displays generated from the rescued data cores, Dr. Thesa revealed evidence of ancient technology scattered throughout the galaxy technology that had been systematically suppressed by the ruling council species for over 10,000 years. "These structures," Thesa explained, highlighting massive installations hidden within asteroid fields and dead star systems, are clearly artificial. The energy signatures match no known technology currently in use by any species, yet they show signs of regular maintenance and active monitoring. "Who built them?" Lu Wei asked, studying the complex geometric forms that seemed to bend space around themselves. "Unknown, but they predate all current civilizations by millions of years. More importantly, they demonstrate technological capabilities far beyond what the Council races claim is possible. Faster-than-light communication across galactic distances, matter manipulation at the quantum level, energy generation from quantum vacuum fluctuations." Lu Wei felt a chill as the implications became clear. "And the Council has known about this?" Commander Jorik Thane, who had remained mostly silent during his time aboard the Pathfinder, finally spoke. "Not just known, Ambassador. They have been actively using this technology while preventing others from discovering it. How do you think they maintain instantaneous communication across their empire? How do their ships travel between star systems in days rather than months? The younger species," Dr. Thesa continued, including humanity, "have been deliberately held back. Technological advancement that could threaten Council supremacy is sabotaged, suppressed, or stolen. Your own people have had several breakthrough discoveries mysteriously fail or disappear." Ambassador Lu Wei thought of the recent setbacks in human space exploration, the fusion drive project that had inexplicably failed despite years of successful testing, the quantum communication array that had simply stopped working one day, the colonial ship that had vanished without trace in what was supposed to be well-mapped space. "You're suggesting a conspiracy spanning multiple species and thousands of years?" she said slowly. "I am presenting evidence of it," Thesa replied, firmly, "and Captain Chen's rescue of my team has made humanity a target. The corporate council cannot allow these revelations to spread, and they cannot allow the precedent of humans operating independently in their space." As if summoned by her words, Sarah Walsh's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from Kaleri space. It's addressed to Ambassador Lu Wei." On the bridge, they gathered around the communication console as Sarah played the message. The holographic image that appeared was that of High Counselor Zareth, one of the most powerful figures in the Kaleri government. His scales were marked with the deep blue and silver patterns that indicated noble lineage, and his four eyes held the cold calculation of absolute authority. "Ambassador Lu Wei," he began without preamble, "you harbor criminals who have stolen vital research data. Return them immediately, along with all materials they have shared with human authorities, and this incident will be forgotten. Refuse, and humanity will face consequences that extend far beyond simple trade sanctions." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving an uncomfortable silence on the bridge. Ambassador Lu Wei looked around at the faces surrounding her human crew members who had risked everything to save alien lives, and alien scientists who had trusted humanity with secrets that could reshape civilization. "Counselor Zareth is not known for making empty threats," Commander Thane said quietly. "If he says humanity will face consequences, he means it. What kind of consequences? Captain Chen asked. Dr. Thesa answered grimly. Trade embargo would be the least of it. The Council controls faster-than-light communication networks throughout the galaxy. They could isolate human colonies, cut off supply lines, even fabricate evidence of human aggression to justify military action. They're that powerful? Li Wei asked. Ambassador, Dr. Thesa said, her voice heavy with significance, they have been using ancient technology that allows instantaneous travel between any 2 points in the galaxy. Their exploration fleets aren't exploring, they're monitoring every species to ensure no one develops capabilities that might threaten Council dominance. The implications were staggering. Humanity, like dozens of other younger species, existed only because the Council allowed it. Their colonies, their trade routes, their very survival depended on the continued benevolence of civilizations that viewed them as useful primitives. So what do we do? Captain Chen asked. Surrender and hope they keep their word? The Council's word is worthless when their power is threatened, Commander Thane replied bitterly. My people learned that lesson when our research became inconvenient. Ambassador Li Wei stood silent for a long moment, weighing options that could determine humanity's future among the stars. Finally, she activated her personal communication device and sent an encrypted message to Earth. I'm calling an emergency session of the Colonial Alliance Council, she announced. And I'm recommending we reach out to other species that might have similar grievances against the Council. Dr. Thesa's inner eyelids flickered with something that might have been hope. You would risk open conflict? Sometimes, Li Wei replied, echoing Captain Chen's earlier words. Doing what's right is more important than doing what's safe. The weeks that followed saw unprecedented secret communications between species across the galaxy. Using the ancient communication network that Dr. Thesa's team had partially decoded, human diplomats made contact with the Zephyrian Mining Collective. His resource extraction technologies had been repeatedly sabotaged. They reached out to the Wanderer clans, nomadic traders whose faster-than-light navigation improvements had mysteriously failed. They contacted the Botanical Consortium, whose atmospheric processing innovations had been stolen and then restricted. The pattern was clear once species began comparing notes. Every major technological advancement by younger civilizations had been either suppressed, stolen, or sabotaged by agents working for the Council. The elaborate facade of galactic cooperation was revealed as a system of control designed to maintain the dominance of a few ancient powers. The breaking point came when the Council made their next move. 3 human colonies suddenly found their supply shipments delayed by administrative complications. Communications with Earth became intermittent due to solar interference. Ominously, long-range sensors detected large fleets of Council warships conducting training exercises near human space. The message was clear. Surrender the rogue scientists and their data, or face isolation and potential military action. Humanity's response surprised everyone, including humanity itself. Instead of backing down, the Human Colonial Alliance called an open session at Haven Station, inviting representatives from every species in the galaxy. The session was broadcast on all frequencies, using both conventional transmissions and the decoded ancient communication network that the Council thought they controlled exclusively. Ambassador Li Wei stood before delegates representing 47 different species, many of whom had never spoken to each other before. Behind her, holographic displays showed the evidence gathered by Dr. Thesa's team proof of ancient technology, suppressed research, and the systematic control of galactic civilization by the Council powers. For 10,000 years, Li Wei began, her voice carrying across the assembly and 2 billions of beings throughout the galaxy. We have accepted that some species are naturally superior to others. We believe that technological advancement follows predetermined paths, that faster-than-light travel and quantum manipulation are the exclusive domain of elder civilizations. She gestured to the displays showing ancient installations and their impossible technologies. We have been lied to. All of us. The revelation that followed changed everything. Species that had been rivals for centuries discovered they had been manipulated into conflict to prevent them from cooperating. Technologies that each species thought they had independently developed were revealed to be pale imitations of ancient systems that the Council had been using for millennia. The response from the Council was swift and predictable. High Counselor Zareth himself appeared via holographic transmission, flanked by representatives from the other founding species. His scaled features showed cold fury as he addressed the assembly. These accusations are the fantasies of primitive minds that cannot accept their natural limitations, he declared. The Council has brought order and stability to the galaxy for 10,000 years. We will not allow that peace to be shattered by reckless conspiracy theories. Dr. Thessa Corvin stepped forward, her data cores glowing with stored information. Counselor, would you care to explain the quantum signature readings from installation Sigma 7441? The one your people have been maintaining in secret for the past 3 millennia? Zareth's 4 eyes narrowed dangerously. Dr. Corvin, you and your colleagues are fugitives from justice. Nothing you say can be trusted. Then explain this, Captain Chen interjected, stepping beside the Kalari scientist. The cargo ship captain looked small beside the alien dignitaries, but his voice carried the quiet confidence of someone who had faced impossible odds and survived. Your people left Dr. Corvin and her team to die in space. When we rescued them, you tried to kill all of us rather than let their research become public. That doesn't sound like the behavior of benevolent guardians. The assembly erupted in discussion as species. Representatives compared notes and shared their own experiences with council interference. The careful facade of galactic harmony crumbled as story after story emerged of suppressed technologies, sabotaged research, and mysterious accidents that had befallen anyone who came too close to breakthrough discoveries. High Counselor. Zareth raised his voice above the chaos. Enough. The Council's authority derives from our superior development and our responsibility to maintain galactic stability. We will not debate our legitimacy with primitives and rebels. Your authority, Ambassador Lue replied calmly, derives from technology you didn't create and power you've maintained through deception. That ends now. The vote that followed was closer than expected, but decisive. 29 species voted to form a new galactic cooperative dedicated to open sharing of knowledge and technology. 18 species chose to remain with the Council, either through loyalty or fear. The galaxy split along lines that had been hidden for millennia. The conflict that followed was unlike anything in recorded history. The Council possessed superior technology and ancient weapons, but the cooperative had something more powerful: the combined knowledge and creativity of dozens of species working together for the first time. Human ingenuity merged with Kalari science. Sefarian engineering combined with wanderer navigation techniques, and botanical atmospheric expertise enhanced the capabilities of all Captain Marcus. Chen found himself commanding not a cargo vessel, but a ship equipped with hybrid technologies that no single species could have developed alone. Dr. Thessa Corvin worked alongside human scientists to unlock secrets that had been hidden for millions of years. Ambassador Liu Wei coordinated diplomatic efforts that spanned the galaxy, building alliances that the Council had spent millennia preventing. The final confrontation came at the Nexus, the ancient hub that controlled the galaxy's faster-than-light communication network. The Council had used this facility to monitor and manipulate younger species for 10,000 years, but they had never bothered to fully understand the technology they were using. Dr. Thessa and her human colleagues did understand it, working together. They revealed that the Nexus was not just a communication hub, it was a gateway to the creators of the ancient technology. Beings who had transcended physical existence eons ago, but who had been watching their creations with growing disapproval. The ancients' judgment was swift and final. The Council species that had abused their gift were stripped of access to the advanced technologies, reduced to the same level as the species they had oppressed. The galaxy was reset, all species given equal access to knowledge and technology, free to develop and explore without artificial limitations. In the aftermath, as new alliances formed and old barriers fell, Captain Chen stood on the observation deck of Haven Station, watching ships from dozens of species working together to explore the galaxy's mysteries. Dr. Thessa joined him, her scales shimmering with satisfaction as she observed the cooperation. That would have been impossible under Council rule. Your people have started something remarkable, Captain, she said. The galaxy will never be the same. We just did what anyone should do, Marcus replied, echoing the words he had spoken weeks earlier when facing a simple rescue decision. We helped. Dr. Thesa considered this, then smiled in the way Kaleri had learned from watching humans. Perhaps. That is why your species was chosen to break the cycle. The ancients needed someone who would act without calculation, would risk everything for strangers simply because it was right. Chosen? Marcus asked. Did you think it was coincidence? That brought your ship to our exact location at the moment we needed rescue? The Cess amber eyes gleamed with ancient wisdom. The distress signal we sent was rooted through systems we had never seen before, amplified and directed with technology beyond our understanding. Someone wanted you to find us? Captain Chen looked out at the stars, where human ships now traveled, freely alongside alien vessels, sharing knowledge and exploring wonders that had been hidden for millennia. The galaxy stretched before them, vast and full of possibilities that no single species could achieve alone. In the end, God, it had not been superior technology or ancient wisdom that freed the galaxy from 10,000 years of stagnation. God, been the simple human principle that you don't leave people to die alone in the darkness, regardless of who they are or what it might cost you. That principle, turned out, was revolutionary enough to change the universe. Asterisk.